hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of HCTalk. As always, I'm your host, Lance Gormley, and our guest on the program today to give a monthly update is Sheriff Chad Gay. How are you doing today, Sheriff?
Oh, I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
Good. I was watching the commission meeting, and I did hear a little bit of updates, but I always like to have you guys come on the program. Appreciative that you do, just to have another way to get a hold of everybody and let them know what you guys are out there doing, and gals are out there doing. So all the same, I just want to put it over to you, Chad, and let you have the floor.
Okay. Yeah, this is going to be the stats for the month of May 2025. And yesterday I had Sean Chapman go into the commission meeting for me and take care of that. It was my birthday yesterday, so I took the day off.
I was going to tell you that, yeah, happy birthday.
Yeah,
the big 4-0, 40 years old, man.
Yeah.
That's, you got another 40 years to go, Chad.
Milestone 40.
Forever 40.
Okay, so cases pulled was 225. We had 606 traffic stops, which is a pretty big number for what we've been doing. Up from 486 last month, so they were really getting busy. Tickets issued was 89, 81 arrests, 534 area checks, 365 citizen contacts, and they drove 46,426 miles. So
wow.
That number never ceases to amaze me.
That's a lot of miles.
A lot of miles. But I've said it before. That's good. That means they're out there and they're staying busy. They're staying out in the public, and that's where we need people
being seen.
Yes. So, animal. The crash report 2025 for the month of May crash reports was 12 versus animal accidents. Non-injury was 14, 4 injury, and no fatalities. I always like to report 0 on the fatalities for sure. Civil process. We always talk about Chris Purvis out delivering paperwork, and so he received 596 papers, delivered 548, and I've explained before that we get paid to do that by most people, and he brought in $3,890 revenue for us for his service. Let's see. Calls for service were 1,724 calls for service in the month of May, which is an average of 55 a day.
Wow. And
that averages, for our 13 deputies, that averages 132 calls a month for them. We requested outside agency assistance 10 times, and other folks asked us for assistance 39 times. And that's all our municipalities that typically that we're assisting. Or it could be KHP, but usually it's our other municipalities that we're helping out and that are helping us out. So day shifts with only 2 deputies working the road at once. We had 21 days where we had just 2 deputies out, which is 67% of the time. Night shift, there was only 4 shifts, which was 12% of the time. So that's not too bad. Like I say, and I've explained before that we on night shift we make sure we sometimes we work people overtime. There were 6 overtime shifts worth this last month, but we want to keep 3 out during the nighttime. And the reason we do that is because on day shift during the week, especially, there are all of us at the office, our investigators that could go help if we needed it. And there's typically in the smaller towns, Burton, Sedgwick, and those towns that don't have 24-hour service, typically during the days they have service. So it's on day shift, it's less critical for us. We'd still like to have 4 deputies out, but it's not as critical as the night shift. We used, gallons of fuel consumed. We used 3,018 gallons of gas, or $6,712 is what that costs the taxpaying folks of Harvey County to let us drive around for a month. nothing, nothing really stands out to me exceptional in the crime statistics. We keep track of that every month, how many different crimes of battery, LEO, burglary. Those are some of the things that we keep track of, and there's nothing that stands out in that, nothing unusual to report on the crime. Let's see, search warrants. We didn't have any this last month. That one, sometimes that one's important to people, because that is a big deal, doing search warrants on people's stuff,
Mm-hmm.
We had 2 attempt to eludes, which really was not unusual either.
They just don't want to stop for you. They just don't want to stop. I don't know why all the time, but they just don't want to stop.
They don't want to stop. Yeah, we don't like those. Okay, so yeah, that's really nothing. Nothing unusual in the crime. Nothing that stands out to me. So jail report. Inmates to district court were 89. So that seems like a lot to me.
Yeah.
It sounds like they were busy to do 89 inmates to district court during the month. 16 times we had to take multiple ones at one time. So there are 16 of those. Extra security, they asked us to be in court extra security for 4 times. Time in district court was 57 hours. Inmates waiting transport to Department of Corrections is 5. Out of service cells, we're still at 10. And federal inmate transports, we only did 3 trips for 25 hours for federal inmate transports. But again, I looked today, and we have 95 total inmates in our jail today, and only 9 of them are feds. So, I got some more here. We got staff overtime, 228 scheduled overtime hours. That's vacation, transport, court, etc. when we need extra help. Let's see. The admin support covered 48 hours of shift coverage during the month, and we're short staffed on night shift for 4 shifts. So. Anyway, okay.
So you're hiring at the jail. Is that what I hear?
No, actually, I hate to say it too loud. My coffee table right here is wood that I've got my phone on and I'm knocking on it right now, but we're currently full staff. I hate to say that too loud. I should never say that.
Yeah.
But in the jail, we're full staff. But that can change at a moment's notice. You just never know. So,
yeah. Okay. I had a question.
Sure.
Okay. So when I was listening to what Sean Chapman, Undersheriff Sean Chapman, was saying, he had brought up something about the interdiction officers and how now that you all are getting more staff, and of course some of them still have not gone through all what they need to. It's freeing the individuals that are tasked with that responsibility up a little bit, and maybe will in the future. But there was some things that he had mentioned, like they're out there able to start doing their job, specific job a little bit more, and that's producing results.
Yeah. So they're still doing mostly shift work because we're shorthanded on patrol because we have 2 guys in the academy. So our criminal, it used to be the drug task force. That's what we called them, right? DTF. And we went ahead and switched it up to criminal interdiction unit because we just thought is it semantics? Maybe by, different name, but criminal interdiction unit because we felt like they should be focusing on all crime, not just that.
Yeah, you got trafficking, human trafficking that you have to.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's, we think commonly like they're probably of the stuff that they come across, 80% is going to have to do with narcotics, but that doesn't mean that that's all that they deal with because there's a lot there.
Yes, there's a lot there. So, previously when we would come across the example is, and this has happened to us multiple times, where we stop we'll just say a van, and it's full of people that we know that are illegally in our country, right? They're whatever you want to call them, but I'll call them illegals in our country. And we would call ICE, and ICE would say, let them go. That was the policy prior to Trump coming in, right? And Trump changed that. So now, when we stop that van full of folks that are here illegally, we call ICE, and they come get them, which then we have to be with them, and it puts a little bit of a burden on us. But, we were talking about, going from drug task force to criminal interdiction unit. That's something that we're dealing with now, is folks that are here in our country illegally. And like you were saying, the sex trafficking is certainly a possibility. We're not seeing a ton of that, but I guarantee it's around. Yeah. We know it's around, but I guarantee it's coming to Harvey County.
Yeah.
And then also the drug interdiction stuff too is part of, and a lot of times that drug interdiction stuff will lead you into all those other things. One thing leads to another typically in the criminal, the criminal underworld. Yep. All that stuff's going on.
Sadly.
All those things.
Absolutely.
And so, the point I'm trying to make is that our drug guys, our criminal interdiction unit guys, our CIU guys, are right now they're busy because they're doing some of that CIU stuff, but they also are tasked with taking calls from our citizens and taking care of our citizens. When they're strictly CIU, they don't do that unless somebody needs help. Unless an officer, an officer can't get to something, they'll go, or one of our deputies will go help our CIU. But most, they're focused on criminal interdiction stuff. And so our new guys will be done at the academy in July. Hopefully by October, November, they'll be out on their own, contributing. And so then our CIU guys can really get turned loose then.
Very cool. Much needed. Yeah. It's interesting how in the whole sheriff's department, there's so many different entities, like pockets of tasks that each individual officer might do differently, even like down to your detention deputies, to your road deputies, to your criminal interdiction officers. Just it's kind of amazing thing, in my opinion. It's an amazing thing. That's why we do what we do, Chad. Well, I just want to say, do you have anything else you'd like to leave with anybody? A final word, a final thought of any kind.
Something really profound, right?
Yes.
I don't really have anything. Again, we all enjoy. We enjoy serving our community. I'm glad to be here, and I'm very thankful that folks voted for me. The past 3 times here to put me in the office. So we're happy to be here and helping out our folks.
Absolutely. We're happy you're here. We support our law enforcement in this community. I have no doubt in my mind that we do. Where other places might not have a citizenry, a large population of them that just really love on you guys and appreciate everything you do, we do here. So I just want to say I appreciate you, Chad.
We appreciate it.
Yep,
thank you.
Absolutely. Well, I just want to thank everybody for listening to this episode of HCTalk. As always, I was your host, Lance Gormley, and our guest on the program to do a monthly update was Sheriff Chad Gay. Have a good one, everybody.